At this point, I think most people realize by now that many of the people running the world don't see reality the same way the average person does. They operate from a very specific philosophy and belief system. I'm a big believer in know thy enemy. You don't have to agree with an ideology to study it. In fact, understanding it is the first step. In this video, we're going to talk about Luciferian ideology and what it actually teaches. TikTok, this is just for entertainment purposes only. First, it's important to separate Hollywood from philosophy. Most modern followers of this ideology don't necessarily worship a red devil with horns. Instead, Lucifer is often viewed as an archetype. He's the light bringer, the rebel, the one who rejects external authority in pursuit of knowledge, power, and self-sovereignty. This idea is captured in one of the most famous occult statements ever written by Aleister Crowley. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. In other words, discover your true will and pursue it above all else. Now let's compare that with Christ's words in Luke 22:42. Not my will, but yours be done. Now, right there, you have two radically different spiritual paths. One says, surrender the self to the divine. The other says, elevate the self and follow your own will. And this is actually where Luciferian philosophy begins to diverge from many traditional spiritual systems. At first glance, Luciferianism and Gnosticism can look similar. Both value hidden knowledge. Both teach that humanity is asleep. Both encourage awakening. But the purpose of that knowledge is different. In many Gnostic traditions, Gnosis, which is direct spiritual knowledge, is meant to help you remember your divine origin and transcend the illusion of separation. In Gnosticism, the lower ego is something to overcome. As it says in the Gospel of Thomas, whoever discovers the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death. The goal is reunion with the divine. The ego is the prison. Luciferian thought, by contrast, often focuses on strengthening, refining, and perfecting the individual self. Knowledge becomes a tool for self-mastery, self-deification, and personal empowerment. Since some see Luciferianism as the as-below reflection of Gnosticism's as-above. Both seek light. One seeks union with the divine, the other seeks sovereignty of the self. One dissolves the ego, the other enthrones it. In Gnosticism, they believe in transcending death because when you become one with the divine, life becomes everlasting. But with Luciferianism, they believe that after death, there is nothing. So you have to get everything you want and desire right here, right now, in this life. Once you begin looking for this philosophy, you start seeing reflections of it everywhere in modern culture. The obsession with image, the obsession with fame, with followers, with personal branding, the obsession with wealth, status, beauty, influence. A culture constantly telling people, follow your truth, do what makes you happy, answer to nobody, become your own God. Historically, pride has been viewed by many religious traditions as humanity's greatest stumbling block. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Followers of this ideology believe that there is no eternal reality, there is no judgment, no higher authority. The logical conclusion becomes simple for them. Acquire as much as possible, experience as much as possible, become as powerful as possible, and satisfy every desire, because this life is all there is. Perfect example.
5 years if you get lucky, one life. You don't have no redos, you don't have nothing. There's nothing else after this. After this lifetime, there's nothing else. Whatever I want, I have to get!
Now, to be fair, not every person who identifies as a Luciferian believes exactly the same things. Luciferianism is very diverse, just like Christianity is. There's many different forms. But at the philosophical level, one question remains. Is the purpose of life self-glorification or self-transcendence? Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Matthew 16:25. The ancient mystical traditions taught transcendence of the ego. Luciferian philosophy often teaches refinement and exaltation of the self. And perhaps that is the oldest spiritual battle in human history. My will be done, or thy will be done.